I don't know what you've done or how you've done it, but hold on. Hold on. You've glitched the system. My love, I don't know what you've done, but you are freaking amazing. Okay, this is it's honestly gonna feel like so much has happened. Okay, so much has happened in such a short amount of time. I'm just seeing timelines compress. The energy is you've glitched the system. And first of all, this message is supposed to find you on the 8th of August. This is going to be on the 8/8 portal. And it's definitely supposed to find you before August 13th, which is the solar eclipse that's happening. It's the new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Leo. And eclipses, this is literally something that would usually take a long amount of time to do. Like I'm seeing years collapsing into months, months collapsing into weeks, weeks collapsing into days, and days collapsing into hours. And the song that was coming through right before I opened up this message was, "It's the final count." There's so much that's freaking happened since we last met. And oh my god, how do I even... are we even on? Is the microphone on? Let me just make sure everything's plugged in, because when I tell you, I don't even think I was fully ready for this message. I haven't even plugged in the mic, have I? No, I haven't. Okay, hold on. Let me plug this in. My god. Again, it's like whatever this is, it's definitely a microphone drop moment, and it's through your embodiment. I'm hearing your silence speaks louder than 1,000 words ever could. But there's something around a reintroduction, like you've disappeared and reappeared unrecognizable. And this is what it feels like. I feel like, hold on, let me plug this in real quick. All right, are we good? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing. All right, cool. So what I feel like is I have vertigo looking at your field after looking away. You know when it's like the brain needs time to recalibrate? And the thing is, you're going to be stepping into a world born from your own frequency. I have so much to share. You know the meme that it's like the guy connecting the red threads of fate I'm seeing in your life taking place right now, which is a Chinese proverb that says, you know, we're destined to meet people, places, opportunities. I'm seeing it as vertex, like destiny's gate opening up. And he's like connecting all these dots where we've been away from like for a couple days. It feels like so much has transpired. I'm seeing within your own internal architecture, within your own internal field. I'm also seeing your thought processes. So the way that you're looking at yourself or your potential in this realm has dramatically shifted. This is such an exciting message, and it definitely feels like literally a microphone drop moment. So I have so much to share. I don't even know where to start. At some point I might have to hop out because I have a meeting, and I need to go out and see my friend real quick. But I got clearance or like clarification. I need to start this now, even if we don't finish it. So it feels like this is very much a to be continued energy in the field. So I want to share a couple things with you. First of all, what was showing up? This is a shortcut of events. So pulsar was showing up, which talks about something happening in intervals. It's literally a roller coaster. And I'm seeing it as your life is about to be heading in a completely new trajectory where reality is going to be reconfiguring itself to correspond to the internal transformation that's happened within you. There's a level of embodiment and a parallel version of self that you're anchoring into your current coordinates within space-time. And I'm going to talk about that with the eclipse energy, but it's almost like reality is like, wait, who's this? Like, who is this? It gives me a let me reintroduce myself energy. So pulsar talks about a roller coaster, something happening at intervals, and a lot happening within a short amount of time. It's literally the only page in the book that talks about the layout being completely different, and it doesn't even talk about it, right? It doesn't even introduce this. It's clear, it's evident in the way that the page is laid out that this is the only page in the book that I'm hearing you're the definition of never judge a book by its cover, and I'm seeing your cover shift or your cover change. So this is the difference of this page. Let me show you real quick. This is short but intense, spinning at breakneck speed and intervals. I'm seeing like breaking necks, like you may be breaking necks, but where people are like looking and it's like a double take type energy. Again, it just gives me vertigo or some kind of huge recalibration where it can even feel disorientating because of the vastly different, I'm seeing nature or dimension within you that you're bringing to the surface. That's what this is. Then you have wormhole. Now, wormhole is obviously about a shortcut of events, and it talks about collapsing time. Now, the energy that was coming through, okay, I know I need to chill. I'm just very, very excited. the energy that was coming through is that if time is simply consciousness traveling into a new event, then you are that new event. I'm hearing that is orchestrating the field around you, and there is a new field or space beginning to emerge around the version of self that you're embodying. But this is happening faster now than ever before. When we talk about the physical change as the last change to occur, I'm seeing it's the last thing to collapse through space-time. It's the last thing to become tangible. It's the last thing to become evident and measurable. There is some type of immeasurable, invisible work that you've been doing internally behind the scenes that is now going to be measured through your life experiences. This could be very literal opportunities, but it's very much the third dimension catching up with you in a very rapid way. I'm seeing it's a rapid acceleration of events that's happening in your field right now. So time is stopping, literally. Like, then I keep hearing the time dimension. So the time dimension, if we think about Doctor Strange, the time dimension was almost this portal, or I'm getting a keyword for this, spinning at breakneck speed, and the time dimension and how that bleeds in to your current timeline. It feels like dimensions are collapsing, which are just different frequencies, are collapsing in on each other, and it's leading to like this kinetic velocity generator opening up, and that is you, which causes a time matrix. It causes a glitch. It's almost a Stargate type of energy where you're activating and streamlining. I'm seeing like your soul stream or highest expression into your current coordinates within space-time. So let me share with you also what came through, which was 1919. That's the time that I got done yesterday. All these messages were coming through for you, and so this is the time that I got done running them, and I'm going to go ahead and share with you my findings, but you're going to know that this message is for you based upon the energy of 1919 I'm about to read. So 1919 talks about transformation. It is asked that you take notice that you hold within your hands the power to change your life. Within this realization, you will feel your sense of purpose, or I'm getting chills, and your connection to new beginnings. I release what I no longer need to carry and open myself up to the transformative energy of the divine. So this is very much leading us up to the solar new moon eclipse, which is going to be happening on the 13th of, well, really it's the 13th of August. So the other energy that I got from this was, it's almost like you traveling through a wormhole. And I said, what would normally require traveling the entire distance suddenly has a shortened route. And that's exactly what you're going to be experiencing, because it's literally the compression of time itself where it's incredibly malleable. And I'm seeing you're functioning on the other side of time. Does that make sense? It's like you're in this world, but you recognize that you're an eternal being moving through these temporal moments. And I'm seeing these temporal moments aren't defining you. And because of that, it's almost like it's fast tracking something. It's literally leading to you fast tracking into your highest timelines, if that makes sense. The other message that was coming through is the fastest way to attract everything that you want is by becoming unavailable to the things that are not highly supportive, conducive, or I'm seeing proactive for your most supportive and beneficial. I'm seeing alliances and attributes, but there's something around the time dimension specifically, and how, let me see if I can use it as a keyword and see what comes through real quick. Can you define the time dimension, especially in Doctor Strange? How would that correspond to a human being collapsing dimensions, where things that occur inside of the time dimension begin to bleed out into their third dimensional experience? So I'm going to use that as a keyword real quick, because there's a really specific message coming through in the field. And again, like, I opened this message before I was even fully ready for it. So if we use Doctor Strange as a symbolic framework, it can talk about you're not experiencing a linear sequence of the past, present, and future, but a larger field of possibility, sequences, loops, branches, and outcomes. So in your ordinary third dimensional experience, you can spatially say, you know, I am here in this body at this location, and time appears to move through that experience one moment at a time. But Doctor Strange repeatedly plays with the idea that consciousness can occupy a perspective outside the normal flow of the timeline that you're in. And that's exactly what it is. It's like there's some type of higher level of awareness that you have. I'm seeing it even is like gut instincts that you have, which are literally memories from your future self or your higher self. I'm just gonna pick, okay, I'm gonna close my eyes and actually pick some bracelets and see what comes through. Okay, I've got 3 at once. Oh, that's a beautiful blend actually. So the energy you may want to work with is, we have amethyst, which is healing energy. It's also giving me clear seeing, like you're seeing something clearly because it's linked to the third eye. We have rhodonite, which is a self-love stone. So there's something around, as you reconnect with yourself, you can see clearly. And then we also have clear quartz, which is another heart chakra energy. Okay, so it talks about strange, can see possible outcomes, reverse an event, accelerate it, or become aware of multiple potential futures. The important metaphor is that the event may already exist as possibility before the character physically encounters it. At first, the character accesses another dimension as though it is somewhere they go, and eventually what they learn to perceive and manipulate there becomes part of how they operate here. The boundary between the dimensions becomes increasingly porous. That's the energy. It's like porous, timelines are bleeding into each other. So you could experience it as the time dimension contains capacities that don't obey ordinary third perception. So again, you're literally encountering some type of future information, and it's shifting the trajectory that your life is taking because you're implying and embodying a future version of you within the current coordinate within space-time. And the human can experience it initially as altered states of consciousness. So you could be receiving dreams, meditations, astral projection, deja vu. At this point, you can't clearly identify where one dimension ends and another begins, because the human being is the intersection through which all those layers are simultaneously expressed. You're not skipping experiences. It's that you've acquired a level of, I'm hearing expertise, you've acquired a level of experience, and you've been studying that experience to become more knowledgeable, and now you're embodying that wisdom in a way that you're being invited to do. Okay, I have to go because I have a meeting real quick, and then I'll be back. Okay, I'm back. Oh my god, I just had such a cute meeting. You know when you meet like just a really, really beautiful human? It was that energy. But anyway, the message that was coming through is like, it looks like you're skipping levels because of how rapidly you're going to be progressing, simply because you're more coherent to integrating some type of information or experience faster. The message that was coming through is, what if something that once required years of repetition could now be understood through months? And I'm seeing this as pattern recognition that you have throughout lifetimes. You know, when it feels like you're learning something in this lifetime, or you're experiencing something in this lifetime, but you have a historical, let's say, context when it comes to life on Earth, and I'm seeing points of reference that don't originate from this timeline, yet it's something that you're remembering within your current space, within time. That's what this is, where it's months into days. It's literally an entire cycle that could be compressed into a single experience. That's what's coming through. And so I was seeing that the distance of who you are versus whom it is you're becoming is beginning to collapse. And then last night, this is crazy, right? Last night I was looking at these buildings on the skyline, and I saw this, what I thought to be a scarab. And the scarab is the one that ventures between the lands of the seen and the unseen. And they hold this, I'm seeing, level of wisdom that they bring to the physical realm. And I'm seeing this as you, right? But then I looked at it and I was like, oh, that's actually a phoenix. Come to past, right? Today, I went to look up the 7 of Wands. I'm going to share this with you because this was one of the messages that was coming through. Look what they have on the card. They have a freaking phoenix. And so it feels like that's, again, I get vertigo looking at your energy because it's like you are unrecognizable. You're quite literally shape-shifting. There is a shapeshifter deck card in this deck, and it basically is the Knight of Wands element, which is taking inspired action toward your dreams, ambitions, and goals. It's like there's something that's vertigo-inducing looking at you, and it's almost like reality thinks that it recognizes you, and then you shift into another archetypal expression, and then it has to reorganize itself to correspond with the internal frequency that you're now embodying, and how that frequency is a form of consciousness that then collapses itself into a particular archetype. And I'm seeing that archetype begins to behave very, very differently. I'm seeing it as like the Fool card and the High Priestess begin to behave very, very differently, especially when you're constantly shifting between. I'm seeing this stark contrast. And so the eclipses act as this accelerator. When we talk about the Leo new moon eclipse, it's going to be happening between the 12th or the 13th of August, and it's compressing what's already in motion. And so it's bringing forward developments that may have otherwise taken much longer to see unfold. And so it's less about creating a completely different trajectory, and instead it's just rapidly unveiling the transformation that has already been occurring within you to the world around you. What I essentially see you experiencing is that as you begin to ascend into this higher order, and essentially you go through this identity upgrade, there are certain parts of your external reality that may feel like it mismatches, or like they temporarily seem incompatible, until I'm seeing the world around you begin to respond, and it creates more of a compatible dynamic as far as energy exchanges on Earth elevating in quality to match, sustain, and support this elevated vibration that you're grounding or anchoring into form, collapsing into form. That's quite literally the energy. And so I want to read to you the orbs and the Seven of Wands, because I was seeing this as the energy that's activating in your field, but there's a keyword around vertigo inducing that keeps coming through. So I'm going to go ahead and use that as a keyword so that you can experience yourself how I'm experiencing tapping into your field. So can you clarify what it means when someone has a vertigo inducing effect? That's what this is, all right? And then the orbs basically is the strength card. So the orbs is like you beginning to look like the physical manifestation or embodiment of your higher self in physical form. You're literally blossoming into your highest possible expression. And I'm seeing this as DNA. Spirit's showing it to me as, which inside of your DNA holds the memory of everything that you've been and everything that you have the potential of becoming. Seven of Wands energy is about anchoring that becoming into a new form of being. That's what this is, right? Now, vertigo inducing literally means something that creates a sensation of dizziness, disorientation, spinning, or losing your sense of stable orientation. Again, this is like spinning at breakneck speed. This is the intervals, because it's like you're collapsing into this version, collapsing into this version, collapsing into this version. As a multiversal, universal organism, it's like you're creating these glitches within space-time as you're choosing, I'm just seeing it from the field again, like soul streamlining, like soul streaming. There's different archetype or expressions that you're streamlining into your experience. And I'm seeing they all have different kind of responses. Anyway, so I said, it says when used metaphorically about a person, it can describe someone whose presence or effect on you is so intense that they disrupt your normal sense of grounding or perspective. So it's like once people feel like they figured you out, here you are embodying a new version of self. Oh my God, I just got a notification for the 88 Lions portal, and it says one of the most potent manifestations window of the year is here. The Lions Gate portal is now open. So this is clarification. Yeah, a vertigo-inducing effect can be your presence that makes everything feel destabilized. This is how literally reality is responding to you itself. They altered my usual sense of certainty, orientation, or control, as though I couldn't quite tell which way was up anymore. That's what it is. You definitely remind me of Alice navigating Wonderland right now, and that's how you could feel moving through your third-dimensional space-time travels, because she says, there's no point to going back to yesterday, for I was a completely different person then. It's almost like every day is a new lifetime. And it says it can carry several shades depending on the context, which can be overwhelmingly attractive. It can also show itself as emotional intensity, rapid change, people being in awe of you, being confused, or feeling of being pulled beyond your normal frame of reference. So it's a dimensional time perception language. Vertigo inducing is a strong metaphor that shows consciousness suddenly being exposed to perspectives it normally can't perceive. That's how you could feel, right? It stops functioning as reliable reference points. Again, it's almost like reality is constantly, I'm seeing studying you, right? It's something like you're being studied or watched by energies. It could be I'm seeing physical and also non-physical eyes, or there was a message that was coming through. Like it's disorientating because people are having to force to create new points of reference for you. It's hard to put you inside of a box during this time. That's what's coming through. And of course that can have a lot of different messages with it. And so with the eclipses, it's all about decisions that you could be making during this time that are catalyzing endings in your life, that I'm hearing are actually creating space for new beginnings to begin to emerge. And I'm seeing new beginnings begin to emerge within you, where there's a constant death and rebirth cycle that you're moving through, which is just energy being transformed and transformed and transformed. It's essentially accelerating something that's been long developing underneath the surface. So before I read to you these tarot archetypes, it's going to make a lot more sense if I share with you the Sabian symbol for this eclipse in Leo, which is at 20 degrees. We're going to round it up to 21 degrees of Leo, and it is intoxicated chickens dizzily flap their wings trying to fly. And so the keynote centers around the danger of becoming overwhelmed by an inflated energy, excitement, or ego-driven enthusiasm, and the need to integrate a surge of life force rather than letting it scatter you. It can symbolize a sudden release of dormant energy. I'm seeing it as the solar flares card, which is an amount of energy that's being suppressed and it's now being expressed, that initially feels destabilizing before it becomes embodied. So it's almost like a being trying on their new wings. It gives me quantum superpowers and trying on this version of yourself, where it's like, hello, let me reintroduce myself. I'm literally seeing that as like your avatar is changing skins, you know, and is it Roblox, or you're able to change skins with your character? Or it gives me an element of like a baby giraffe learning how to walk for the first time, where it's finding its footing. It's almost like, how does this version of me navigate this terrain or this area of my life? And I'm seeing as you transform your relationship to yourself, your thoughts of patterns, I'm seeing your emotional well-being and shifting the way that you relate to your experiences on earth emotionally, it's leading you to act vastly different, because once consciousness is aware of itself as not just a localized place within the field, but it's the very field that the localized vessel actually moves through, I'm seeing it begins to operate completely differently, right? So it's almost comical if we think about the flapping wings of the chicken, because you're seeing how reality is literally responding to this version of you. And the other message I got last night was, it's almost like seeing twin swap. Have you ever seen twin swap? Maybe it's in school, but it's giving me that energy of you swapping with a parallel version of you. And it's almost like you're embodying or test driving this parallel. It may be inside of an old pattern. And so you're interrupting it and seeing how reality begins to bend around this new frequency that you're anchoring and embodying into this current circumstance. This is literally you becoming aware of this next version of you before the world around you, I'm seeing, is introduced to this version or becomes aware of the being that they're now beginning to recognize you as. That's what is kind of disorientating, or why you have that vertigo inducing effect. And so I see this happening for you on this date, where internally you're arriving somewhere and your external world hasn't yet caught up with it. And suddenly you're learning how to navigate your existing reality with this new and different frequency streamlining through you. And so part of that, let's say, frequency upgrade requires a level of integration and embodiment, where instead of this expansion being something that scatters you or destabilizes you or leaves you feeling overpowered, or maybe like you're kind of bracing for this, for yourself, essentially, for your next level, it's something that you're being called to fully embrace and fully inhabit within the material realm. So it's less about how high you can fly with these chicken wings, and it's more about, well, can my body hold these wings that I've just learned I have, right? Or I've just learned. It's literally the moment where you've gone through that isolation, introspective period in the chrysalis. You've been in that liquefied state in between realms. And now there's this introduction, essentially, where it's like, okay, well, now I have wings. Well, how do I want to navigate this reality? It's vastly different. I'm seeing corresponding not just levels of consciousness, but also how that level of consciousness responds to its environment, responds to life within this third dimension. And so there's that element. Now, let me go ahead and share with you these octaves within the tarot. So the first one is the strength, and the strength is all about how you hold energy within your physical vessel, because it's literally linked to this carbon-based life form. And then the Seven of Wands is like, well, how are you holding your position, right? What are you guarding? Seven of Wands energy is usually someone who's protecting themselves. And when you begin behaving abnormally according to the patterns of your previous timeline, reality can initially continue approaching you as the person that you've been, or the person that you used to be. So there could be like old triggers that begin to surface, or old dynamics begin to return, or invitations that you've always been used to will continue to be, I'm seeing, magnetically pulled towards you, simply because there's been a level of momentum already gathered within those timelines. But I'm seeing this moment of vertigo again, of, oh, actually we can no longer send this version of self these experiences because they've outgrown them in resonance. And so it's now like these patterns, these invitations, these dynamics are not meeting the version of you that would keep, let's say, reinforcing them through your renewed participation or attention. Because again, the quickest way to upgrade is to no longer pay, I'm hearing, any mind to something that is not even, I'm seeing it as caliber, spirit showing me like caliber, but does that mean like your status or your elevation? Let me go ahead and use that as a keyword real quick. What does it mean to no longer participate within a dimensional layer of reality? So within that dimension, there's certain soul lessons or archetypal experiences, like an ecosystem filled with certain themes that the soul moves through. But then those same patterns begin emerging, but it's meeting a version of self that's upgraded into a new caliber. What does that mean if we use the keyword caliber? That's what this is giving me. It's like, it's no longer, you've upgraded in some way. So let's go ahead and see. So if you use caliber as an ecosystem of consciousness containing particular lessons, archetypes, relational dynamics, emotional frequencies, and patterns, while the soul is resonant with that layer, those experiences aren't part of the terrain through which consciousness is learning itself. But graduating from a dimensional layer doesn't necessarily mean its archetypes disappear from your reality. It means they no longer recruit the same version of you. So when an apparently familiar pattern returns, it may look almost identical externally while meeting an entirely different caliber of self. So this is the developed quality, capacity, integrity, discernment, and energetic range of consciousness through which an experience is now met. The pattern might therefore remain recognizable, but your relationship to the pattern has changed. This could manifest as someone could encounter the same archetype of abandonment, temptation, scarcity, unequal exchange, rejection, power, visibility, or attachment. But the experience no longer generates the identity that once belonged to it. The person recognizes the terrain without becoming absorbed into the ecosystem. And that's the distinction. It talks about evolution isn't necessarily demonstrated by never encountering an old frequency again. It's demonstrated by what caliber of consciousness answers when that frequency knocks. So not everything that calls for your attention is for you to answer. Also, not every invitation that comes your way is something that you have to accept. And I'm seeing it as you're just no longer settling for certain things. And that's you holding that position, right? It's understanding maybe what it is that you will and will not tolerate. And so you can think about it as it's the same archetype. You're now operating in a different caliber. So there's a different participation. There's certain things that you're not participating in anymore. Yeah, when it comes to that dimensional layer of reality. This is so interesting, right? So you know you've transcended a dimensional layer, not because the archetype ceased to appear, but because when they reappear, they encounter a caliber of you that can no longer sustain the reality they once created. Again, so we only renew subconscious core agreements or contracts with certain beings within this dimensional field because we keep responding to the same dynamic the same way. And this gives me the caterpillar card with opportunity. Oh my God, let me read it to you. Your energy is literally sending me on complete side quest because I was not expecting this. If I had to sum this up in a reading, verbatim, My love, it would be this message. I'm just going to read it and let it speak for itself. It's literally about conditioned responses. And the quote that was coming through is, lunacy is the definition of doing the same thing again and again and expecting a different result. And there is something that you're doing. And it's so funny because we literally spoke about the caterpillar to the butterfly energy is this opportunity. There is some type of major opportunity that this entire construct is giving you an opportunity to do, which is showing up for yourself now in a way that you weren't even able to do before. So let me read 4 for you. 4, which is this, right? This is the whole reading in a nutshell, and then I'll share with you my findings. So transformation, opportunity, independence from conditioned responses. The energy of the caterpillar appears heralding a time of transformation and opportunity. Here you're being asked to revise your dreams. If it looks and smells familiar, step away from the time being. The new cannot emerge from the old, and the youthful cannot and vital cannot emerge from the aged and sickly. Experiment and surprise yourself with what arises for you in this moment. It so gives me the Cheshire Cat in Alice in the Wonderland, where it's like you are a mystery even to yourself. So caterpillar is an invitation to test out a new strategy to get a different or better result. Remember that the definition of lunacy is continuing the same thinking and behavior and hoping for a different outcome. It's time to break away from habitual responses to surprise yourself and startle others, eliciting a smile, right? What does the Cheshire Cat do? All it does is smile, a look of frown or awe from those around you. Do not wait for an invitation from life to practice a little bit of outrageousness or ask for permission to do the unexpected. Any other response right now would lead to more of the same and no real change. Sometimes the most original response is no response whatsoever. Stand stock still, staring steadily into the eyes of the player in your drama, avoiding engagement until the moment is right. Caterpillar invites you to witness the story unfolding, knowing that deciding the timing of your actions is as essential as finding the best move to make. And when you do act, let there be no doubt in anyone's mind of the determination and power you unleash. I'm hearing, what have you been cooking, right? There's something that you've been cooking up within yourself, and there's something around taking raw base ingredients and going through some kind of alchemical process where there is some type of event that has transpired like within you, and you are that event again. So it's almost like your timeline that you're familiar with is now looking at you and it's like, wait, that to go. Like, who are you? We cannot approach you the same because you're literally not the same person. And your response is literally, well, hello, let me reintroduce myself. Like, you need to reintroduce yourself. And so, yeah, the circumstances may seem familiar, but your consciousness standing inside of this same familiar pattern is where this timeline compression is beginning to occur, because again, time is collapsing with pulsar. It's an interval. You're no longer operating in a linear way because you are, it reminds me of vast jumping or like quantum jumping, or you're leveraging as a quantum being. And what that means is you're multidimensional and you're navigating your internal dimensions, which are just alternate expressions of you, alternate octaves. What this is giving me is reality no longer has to keep teaching the old version of you the same lessons over and over again, because again, this is a South Node eclipse, love. So this is all about what it is that you're releasing. And I'm seeing it as you're not changing who you are. You're just discarding everything that you're not, and you're returning back to your fluid-like state. So it's now a different version of you that has arrived inside of your current coordinates within space-time. All right, so let me share with you this download that I got yesterday. And the download was skip ad. You know when you get the option to skip an ad, but it was unskippable? And I was seeing it as skipping a lesson, but it's not that you're skipping a lesson. I said there's a new timeline literally beginning to flow from you, because an experience could be familiar, but the consciousness meeting it is no longer the same. And it's not because there's a lesson being avoided. It's literally, what does devoid mean? There's a what does it mean when a lesson is not avoided but it's devoid? Does that mean that it's like no longer applicable, or a being has already learned the lesson? That's what I'm seeing. It's like I'm seeing null. You know when something is like void and null, like something is void and null, like it's balanced out, like where there's no karma due, like karmic debt due and there's no karmic credit owed. You just reach this point of complete neutrality, of being seated in the stillness of the 0 point within your eternal presence and literally just witnessing the intricacies and complexities of this third dimensional construct. And I'm seeing what emerges from the field, what downloads itself into your third dimensional experience. I'm seeing too, it can feel like it tests you, it can feel like a challenge you, but it's more of to invite you to, again, collapse the highest possible expression and stand your ground in one way or another. The devoid could be a powerful keyword, and it's different from avoided. So when we avoid a lesson, it's still active in our reality, but the being moves around it, resists it, suppresses it, or refuses engagement. And there's something around you engaging as a complete parallel version of self. To devoid it is the experience may still appear, but it no longer contains the same lesson for that being. There is nothing left with that particular pattern that consciousness needs to extract in the same way. So it could imply that a lesson has been integrated rather than escaped. That's exactly what this is. You know how every next level is through the parts of us that we try to avoid? You're not avoiding us. It's like devoid, because it's no. It's like I'm just seeing it as something that has balanced itself out. So it's almost like you're instructing density, or you're instructing this field because you're embodying this version of self. So it's like an archetypal configuration, it says. It could be leaving, it could be withdrawing, it could be you choosing a different direction, but it's something that's shifting, like an old lesson. When we talk about the caliber energy, the archetype can remain present while becoming devoid of the lesson it once carried, because it is now meeting a caliber of consciousness that has already integrated what the dimensional experience was designed to reveal. There is something that's become evident in your field. And it reminds you of the last reading that we did on the channel, which was something would be revealed to you on a soul level over the next 48 hours. Let me know how that progressed and transpired in reality, because it feels like, again, there is something that's been emptied from your field or neutralized. And so what I said was, it's a high level of awareness that can compress the amount of time that would be required to usually integrate something. So an experience that can take someone years is compressed into months. Months is compressed into weeks. Weeks are compressed into days. And I'm seeing lifetimes of a cycle is actually being integrated through one very concentrated experience. And I'm seeing this as you observing the experiencer. And the message that kept coming up on the ad was a 30-minute miracle. And I'm seeing this as like literally an entire lesson that's compressed into one experience, because you've literally become a version of self that's coherent enough to recognize an invitation that's being handed to you and embody it differently, like you're handling or navigating it completely differently. And then, oh my God, before I share with you this, let me share with you what happened in my meditation the other day. So in my meditation, I said that you're no longer the same person responding to this. And what I was showing was the heart space, which is you recognizing yourself, okay, and recognizing your interconnectedness to all things as the universe is one single being. So we no longer learn experiences through a profound level of suffering and separation, which is saying, all right, this is me versus you, but instead it's okay, what am I inviting myself to do through another form of me? And I said, can you remain connected to yourself while the pattern is occurring? The second thing that would activate is your third eye. And I said that this brings awareness. Can you recognize the pattern that's playing out in your reality without becoming lost inside of it? And then that linked to the solar plexus, which was all about the opportunity to embody. And I said, can you respond from who you are now rather than repeating what your unconscious would have done? And the faster you recognize the pattern, the quicker that you embody this new response, the less repetition is required for you to integrate this. So you're literally demonstrating that you've learned the lesson, which is integration. That is to become healed. It's to become whole with an experience. And I'm hearing actually becoming whole and returning to yourself through an experience and because of an experience, and an experience giving you the opportunity to meet yourself now in ways that you weren't able to do before. I'm going to be back in a minute, okay? I have to go real quick and then I have to continue. There could be something around interruptions, but I'm seeing this as you interrupting points of reference, like something is shifting in your field, but we'll be back. We'll be back, my love. When I tell you the organized chaos in this message is the message itself, there is some type of self-organized system that is responding to what has been occurring within you, and I'm seeing is rapidly unfolding within you. I literally had to do something, and this message keeps getting like interrupted, and I'm coming back into the timeline. Then my camera tapped out and it said that the connection timed out. And so I'm seeing it as time being a gatekeeper, you know, like a gatekeeper of the time dimension. And it's like, no, time again. It could be no access, where it's like, no, again, connection timed out. Like you can't cross this boundary. That's what this is. Right. So I'm going to go ahead and share with you the decan for the new moon solar eclipse in Leo. We have the strength archetype, and then we have the 7 of Wands, which is all about the rebirth of an identity and you embodying that identity. And that version of you holds new belief systems, right? It holds new creative life force within it, and it's just you stepping out into the world as a more sovereign expression of yourself. That's what this is. So the 7 of Wands talks about self-preservation and defense. A luminous grimoire sits atop a rock in the center of magma. So I think that's this one. Seemingly unaffected by the 7 towering flames, it's flipped open to a page on an old protection spell. As you focus your eyes on the phoenix, a fire bursts out of the book and swirling into the air. Bro, when I tell you this is a form of protection, embrace every temporal disappointment because it's part of the divine plan right now. There is literally the fact that the message got interrupted and I'm getting message around time being a gatekeeper, where again, there's a new event that's occurred within you. And so now a new space is beginning to emerge, not just around you, but literally from you. And whatever doesn't correspond with your internal reality anymore is just, there's something around a frequency gap that's occurring. So we're talking about 𝓬𝓬𝓻 in this one, which is from 20 to 30 degrees. And that literally is linked to the 7 of Wands archetype. And it's ruled by Mars in Leo. If you know anything about Mars in Leo, you know, just leave it there, right? It's all about holding your ground. It's basically about defending what it is that you've earned. And I'm seeing defending this path of integrity that you've been walking, where you're rising above any kind of opposition, or you're standing in your own authority despite any kind of external pressure. And so it's very, very symbolic. And it says the self-preservation of the Book of the Phoenix is a uniquely magical thing. It has existed long before time, and through its defenses will likely preserve unscathed through many challenging times to come. Again, it's been preserved since the beginning of time. It existed long before time. And now time is like, hey, you know, I got acquainted with this and this and this, so and so and so. It could be the human experiencing the physical laws of time, and how, you know, for example, we have to forgive versions of ourselves that didn't know the things that only time would teach them. And there's something around time being one of your greatest, I'm seeing catalysts in this reality, but also one of your biggest teachers. Okay, time would teach you things. Time would help you refine your character rather than becoming defined by these temporal moments within these coordinates of this space-time dimension. That's what this is giving me. And so I'm seeing you walking through the realms of time, but with the perspective of the eternal being. There's something around that, okay? Now, it also says if this card shows up in a reading, it's time to use your wits and protect and defend yourself. You may be surrounded by conflicting opinions and external forces trying to bring you down, but remember that you have all resources that you need to preserve, persevere. You have all the resources available for you to persevere. There could be something about you preserving. If you think about preservatives, it usually allows something to have more longevity on its path. So I'm getting a huge message. Hi, by the way, this is future me, where this is the aftermath of you. Honey, I finished your reading and I started getting to editing, and your energy is still completely lingering in the field. The way that I'm like a mad scientist right now, like weaving things together, this message is incomplete without me sharing this. With the South Node eclipse that we have, right, this new moon solar eclipse in Leo, where the South Node is positioned right now within the cosmos, that becomes inseparable to the shifts that we see occurring on planet Earth, must we remind you that Jupiter is also in the sign of Leo right now. And the message that's coming through, if we think about Jupiter's role in the solar system, he has this immense amount of gravitational, let's say immediate impact on his environment. And so he literally draws things in and out of orbit. He can redirect things like asteroids or comets that can collide with the Earth's field. So not only does he play that complex role of the protector for the Earth, but you are also an expression and an extension of the Earth herself. So Spirit was showing me like an AC Jupiter line, where the AC is like your rising sign, it's your avatar, basically it's your carbon-based life form, and it being enveloped or enwrapped with this level of just like protection around it. Like your energy is magnetizing, and so you're pulling things in and out of your orbit naturally. I'm hearing with like Jupiter's essence. So whatever's in alignment with the trajectory that's aligned with your highest timelines is being amplified and pulled into your field, while simultaneously some things are being pulled out of orbit. Anything that's not coming with you in this expansion field, Jupiter is an expansion sign, is actually, I'm thinking about Jupiter in my Cosmos Oracle deck also is corresponded with the 999 portal, which is literally about releasing in order to make room to receive. There's something that you're releasing right now, and part of that protection doesn't look like clinging on to what's staying, but it's actually restoring that flow of, giving and receiving, to the point where part of your trajectory in life being altered is part of that. I'm hearing not only expansion portal, but it is part of that protection. So I don't know where this is kind of coming in the message, but it's supposed to collide with you. Okay. I was just getting another download about preservation, how things are organic and have a, let's say, natural shelf life. And then when we put preservatives, which are these artificial, let's say, experiences that we infuse into our, I'm just seeing like natural, soul's progression, where we attempt to extend things beyond their shelf life, or we extend to put preservatives into, we try to preserve experiences to hold on to them past their natural due date. And there's an element of returning back to the organic style of creation, which is about allowing things to die for them to be reborn, about restoring that flow. It's like you're no longer holding on to a time frame which is naturally designed to decay, because it's part of the regenerative cycle. And so you're no longer holding on to what has reached its natural organic expiration date. That could be people, it could be connections, it could be things. I also want to share a couple more messages with you that I forgot to mention the first time around. And I also said that we're no longer artificially sustaining like relationships or identities or timelines or roles or circumstances that we've been afraid to release, even though they've reached their natural conclusion or they've reached their natural cycle. And nature, if you think about nature, it doesn't try to preserve things indefinitely. It actually embraces that decomposition process, because I'm hearing it allows that restoration to actually unfold. It knows that its energy cannot be created nor destroyed. It only constantly transforms itself. And there's something around you coming back to that organic nature, which means allowing things to reach a point of completion in order for life to continue ever expanding in this natural organic system of creation. So in practical terms, for what could emerge months after this eclipse, I said that there could be revelations that could usually take years to emerge, but they're arriving within a number of days or weeks or months or even hours for you. Hidden truths could surface. So it could be a relationship, a career, identity, or a belief that you've outgrown that now becomes difficult to ignore. It could also be a point of no return that you've entered into, where once something is seen, it's difficult to return to the previous version of yourself. It's like consciousness expanding into new dimensions. It can no longer return back to its old form. And it could be an acceleration that's occurring where, again, the eclipses aren't necessarily creating anything new. It's just leading to the rapid unfoldment of what was already brewing underneath the surface. So I'm seeing things like unraveling, and then again with time, it's almost like you know how they say time reveals all. It's that type of energy. This also could be external events that are mirroring an internal readiness. So it could be a job offer, a relocation, it could be a chance meeting, or just an ending that feels very sudden, but it often reflects changes that have been building internally for like days, weeks, months, if not years. So that timeline compression can feel like several chapters of personal development are condensed into a much shorter period right now. So it's not even that this change is happening rapidly overnight. It's more that the pace of the unfoldment is going to feel like something's cascading. You know, when it's like a chain reaction or like a sequence of events, it's very much that energy with intervals and pulsar. It's like it happens quickly. Again, with wormhole, time compresses, and it's like three things, four things, five things. It's all there. Like there's some type of huge collapse, but it's part of the design. And then of course we have the orbs. Now the orbs is this wise sage. It talks about this wise being that lives between realms. And I'm seeing it as you anchoring in higher levels of awareness that extend and branch far beyond this time dimension to your points of origin, and then anchoring that back into the realms of time. And so your knowledge and information and insight and awareness and perspective and how you view the third dimension is very different, okay? So you're in this world but not becoming of this world because you remember that you originate far beyond it. So I'm going to go ahead and read the strength for you. It's a very, very profound card. So bravery and overcoming fear. We learn many things from the orbs that we cannot learn on Earth. These are wise souls who have lived lives upon lives and no longer reincarnate into human form. They exist only in the spirit plane and know all there is to know. They are omnipresent and imbue lost souls with bravery and strength. While in the spirit plane, they teach us about things we hardly remember on Earth. The cosmic tree, the life maps, karma, sacrifice, and past lives. They remind us of the maze and warn us about what comes after. The orbs can never interfere or change the path of fate. They only shed light on things you already once knew. There is an energy of this, like shedding light on what you always knew and recognizing yourself as that higher intelligence that can see the organized chaos within your own life experience, can view disorder from the lens of the cosmic, from the cosmos, right? Can feel the universe pulsing throughout every fiber of your being and can recognize the universe that we're seated in as a whole as one single being interacting with itself, and you being a integral interactive element within this system. And you're just being incredibly conscious and intentional with how you exchange your life force with the realm around you to not allow the external confusion. I'm seeing the external fear, the external insecurities to be, I'm seeing energies that are projected to be something that you accept. There's something that you're observing in your reality without absorbing, especially with the porous energy in the field. There is something around that, your ability to tune in and sense the emotional landscapes. And I'm seeing the disruptive, invisible force in the effect that you have with this vertigo, the energy that you're emanating from your being. You're recognizing the natural side effect that your level of coherence has. It's like you're seeing the effect that it has because of some type of internal cause. And I'm seeing this as a new time literally unfolding within you. If we talk about the law of cause and effect, this is a new event emerging from within you, because this construct is holographic in nature. And so life is never happening to you. It's never coming at you. It's coming from you. And there is something else that you are streamlining into this system. That's what this is. All right. So I'm seeing it as like a software update that's going on. There is so much that's coming through. I'm not gonna say I feel overwhelmed. Like recently, these past few days, guys, it's been crazy in the best way possible. Like there's just been so much coming through in the field where I'm being guided to drop things on certain dates. And this is one of them. And you know, when you get to the point where it's not that it's like your intention is something that really grounds you into the system. Like purpose becomes a program that keeps us actually having a sense of direction. Okay, I'm seeing it as the desire of the soul, being a compass, I'm seeing a point that you align yourself with. And whenever we sin, that's when we miss the mark from the trajectory that we know is aligned with our highest expanded timelines. And so I'm seeing something around just recalibrating and bringing yourself back and bringing yourself back and bringing yourself back to neutralize your relationship with the matrix, is literally to turn all of your energy and life force inwards. And I'm seeing this type of energy. This is like an energy recall, and it's a level of protection. That's what it is. Like, fell on the floor. All right. So yeah, strength is literally your inner embodiment. And then Seven of Wands is this outward expression and how you hold your position as you witness reality begin to reorganize itself around this new version of you, essentially. And that's what this entire message is. Now, the analogy that I got for this is the Seven of Wands and strength archetype being the mountain analogy, where you can imagine that you've spent years climbing a mountain and every step has required this level of, discipline and sacrifice and this faith, where faith is a verb and not a noun, so it required that follow through in action, where it was going to be believing that would be seeing, and you wouldn't wait to see something in order to believe it. And I'm seeing this is the power that you possess, and most people only saw when you were halfway up the mountain. Then it was visible within their perception, and they didn't see the early mornings or the setbacks or the moments that you nearly turned around. And then one day you finally reach this summit. And at that exact moment, the wind becomes the strongest it's ever been. The higher that you stand, the stronger the elements become. And the strength card is then your ability to remain calm and centered and embodied despite the winds I'm seeing that are churning in your external environment. And I'm seeing even the winds that are churning within your internal environment as your avatar literally recalibrates itself. And so the Seven of Wands is your ability to plant your feet firmly on the ground in the summit and refusing to be blown away down the mountain simply because the conditions have changed. And I'm seeing this as you, where you're not dissociating or becoming disempowered, but actually solar plexus, you're becoming even more connected to yourself now more than ever before. Now is really the time to be anchored in, the roots of your being anchored so firmly into Gaia and the planet Earth that nobody's presence, nobody's absence disrupts your internal state of being, or I'm seeing distorts the way that you see yourself in this realm as you move through the physical. I want to share with you the astral travel message that came through and also my meditation, because this is also going to be part of your advice moving forward. All right, so in the astral realm, I was seeing again you being the higher realms meeting itself over and over again in the physical. And of course, there are different archetypes that we'll see within this construct, and that's just consciousness collapsed into a specific form. And during the astral trip, I was being shown a message about feeling comfortable in your own skin. And the Empress appeared. Now, the Empress in this deck, I'm going to go ahead and read her archetype so that you can understand, because she is basically the Stargate, right? She brings the non-physical into the physical realm. She is that portal. And I'm seeing this for you play out in your reality. This talks about merging opposites and nurturing. So I'm seeing it as the blending and the merging between your divine nature and your human nature, so much so that you see the human as inseparable from being an expression of the divine, okay? Now, this talks about you come upon a glowing doorway in the middle of shallow pool of water. The peacock sits atop the door and its feathers cascade down with eyes that seem to follow your every move. As you lock eyes with the bird, a feeling of ease washes over you. It is a gatekeeper between the physical world and the spirit plane. I'm literally seeing this as the gatekeeper of time, right? Like of the time dimension, saying, no. This is the new event. You are this new version of self. Only certain things can come through the portals. I'm seeing almost like the Fool card, where he has to put behind him even belief systems. He can't bring the characters with him. He can't bring the stories that have played out. He must only bring what is necessary, which is the wisdom that he derives and extracts from those experiences. And I'm hearing that wisdom embodied is healing. Okay, so it's a gatekeeper between the physical world and the spirit plane. It gives you assurance that you are moving forward and you will be led into another fertile world. This is literally the quality of your life exchanges that are upgrading with you, okay, to mirror and reflect the internal higher order that you've ascended into. So the pulsing colors within the door call you towards it, and you step through unsure of what is to come. The peacock lives between two worlds. It's a reminder that it's possible to find a happy balance between things like work and love and being grounded in the spiritual and finding peace in the world that you live in. When you see the peacock in a reading, it can also be representative of an increasingly strong bond to the earth or the need to reconnect with it. This can be a card that speaks about great unions of unlikely things, and it asks us to keep an open mind whenever possible. So this is what I'm seeing. Now, the Empress's message when I spoke to her in the astral was, how would you treat royalty? And I saw this as a representation with, again, the union of your own divinity, your own human nature and your divine nature. And I said, you're no longer experiencing them as compartmentalized separate aspects, but you're allowing them to exist together as one. What does the physical expression of your soul's essence look like? There is that type of sacred reconnection with the self. And I was shown these pathways that would be unveiled to you as you reconnect with your body, as you reconnect with your own divine. And in meditation after the astral, I was shown 3 energetic expressions. The first was the disconnection from the heart. And when we disconnect from the heart space, we not only feel disconnected from ourselves, but also those around us. And then I saw when we feel disconnected from ourselves and the universe being one single being, we fall into an imbalance in the third eye, which is being confused about what's showing up in our experience and why it's showing up. And we aren't able to really see ourselves clearly because we have always been highly abundant beings within this construct that we've designed to essentially immerse ourselves in and play and create in. Yet we have always been that infinite potential. And whether a fractal of infinite potential can see itself clearly doesn't negate the fact of what it's always been. And I'm seeing this as child. Let's clear the obstructions. Don't you remember what you've always been? And then I saw disempowerment in the solar plexus, which disconnects us from our own divinity. And so I said the pathway to alchemy would be, first of all, to reconnect with ourselves. It's like a reverse engineering energy. And then I said returning compassion for the self, forgiving ourselves for the things that only time would teach us, because there's something around you walking through the realms of time, you walking through the eternal now, and being able to remain deeply connected to yourself, even when the external experience feels uncomfortable, uncertain, or overwhelming. Then with the third eye, it's trusting what it is that you're seeing. I said, trust what you're seeing and interpreting about your own life experiences rather than becoming confused by repeating themes. You can begin to recognize the resonance beneath why certain experiences continue to appear. And I'm seeing what they're inviting you to do that you weren't able to do before. Then I saw the solar plexus, which was all about empowerment and feeling empowered in this embodiment. And that is reconnecting with your own divinity. It's cultivating a pure, very strong sense of self-trust. And that goes with you everywhere you go. I'm seeing that relationship of self-trust and confidence that you cultivate within comes with you and bleeds with you and bleeds with you, bleeds from you, bleeds through you, moves with you everywhere that you go. Okay. So I said you standing in your power was part of this, seeing linear progression to witness your own empowerment and how you hold yourself differently. How is your posture? Are you breathing and connecting with yourself? Because I said then, no matter what the external experience is, it doesn't govern your internal state. Your internal state will govern the way that you interact and navigate with the external realm. And part of the solar plexus energy is boundaries. Many of us forget about this, which is, all right, this is where my emotional landscape, begins, and this is where yours ends, right? This is where yours begins, and this is where mine ends. Yes, we can pick up on what's happening in the field around us, but do we have discernment and being able to understand what is actually ours to carry, what actually is not? So your power is no longer conditional upon the way that reality may look at a particular moment within space-time. And that's the moment that you recognize your own, I'm seeing power inside of an experience, and the new timeline begins flowing from you. I'm seeing that's what compresses timelines. The vision that I got from this in hypnosis was moving from conditional safety into embodied safety. And so in hypnosis, I was taken back to this memory that I had in childhood where I felt really overwhelmed by these voices and entities. And in that moment, that little girl needed safety and security, but because she didn't know how to create that connection within herself, safety became conditional upon the external experience changing, where she believed, I can only feel safe when this stops. But she was yet to remember that I can remain connected to myself even while I'm moving through the experience. And that's the exact moment that alchemy occurs, because we stop requiring the physical world to change before we allow ourselves to reconnect with ourselves. The heart is, I reconnect with myself. The third eye is I trust what it is my experience is showing me. And the solar plexus is, well, I am able to reclaim my power inside of an experience. So rather than like chasing another timeline, and I'm hearing rejecting our current timeline, we actually eject ourselves from our current timeline by I'm seeing coming into full acceptance and surrender, where we create space for another experience to emerge from us. That's what this is. There's like a paradox that happens. We eject ourselves from our current timeline when we anchor it into it even more, and we outgrow it, like in resonance. There's something around that's happening. It's so funny. And the vision I was getting was almost like a helium balloon that was previously anchored, and the balloon could always fly, right? It could always take off, but there were certain belief systems that would anchor it. And I'm just seeing all of these strings be detached, where you're free to float once again. I could feel like there's this clearing where you're discarding the weight. It could be of opinions, it could be of like perceptions, even how you've perceived yourself. And I'm just seeing like this fluid flow through density. So yeah, okay, so that was really the message, to be honest. I have no clue how long this message is, because it feels like, again, it's in intervals. Like this whole story was emerging literally like a roller coaster. Again, it's like collapsing time. I don't even know when I started, when I ended, but that's what it is, my love. So I'm gonna go ahead and probably close out with one gateway of the light activation, but I need to go so I can get this to you today, because I know this needs to come through the field. Orion activation, rebirthed by light. The Orions are really closely linked to, taking action. Again, you have great lessons at the base, which is halls of learning, spirit guides, confirmation that you guys are receiving. This is actually an astral university it talks about. So yeah, that's what this is. The message with being rebirthed by light is connected to Osiris and also the Sirius star, and all your setbacks and fears are being stripped from your energy now. It's essential for your old way of being to fall away, for you to go through a process of renewal, and in order to move forward. The old stories of your life aren't yours to live out or live up to. You are far greater than these limiting experiences. The beings of Orion are surrounding you now. They see you as one of them. Someone who has been born with the knowledge that they can make a great difference in the world, and whether it be on a small global scale or a particular corner of the planet, when you draw this card, you're being reminded that you have infinite start power. That's it, my love. This is your 8-8. And again, you must remember that 8-8 and 8 this month in a numerical 1 year is a 9. 9 is all about clearing and neutralizing our relationship with the matrix. It's all about ascending into the next form. 9 is Neptune energy. It's gaseous. It's the aura, it's the ozone layer of the body. It's the things that we don't see. And I'm seeing the most important things are the things that the human eyes can only look at. But there's something that on a soul level you're seeing as far as energies and patterns, and I'm seeing systems of creation. And I'm seeing, because you have that update within your internal system, there is an update in what it is that you're creating in your experience. I'm hearing moving beyond cycles of repeating. So I think we have to close out with this message. I'm enchanting. You have that vertigo. So yeah, who are you? Reintroduce yourself, because something shifted. You've disappeared and reappeared unrecognizable. With that being said, my love, I am gonna go so I can get this out into the field. I trust that you are well. Keep moving through it. This is a powerful release. It's a powerful release. And it's in the release that we create so much room for us to receive. And there's some type of precipice that you're experiencing where, before everything falls into place, it falls apart. There is some kind of cosmic rearrangement, okay, realignment. I'm seeing that's occurring. I'm seeing windows of opportunity. Understand what those windows are, because you're seated at a very crucial one. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, do consider subscribing. We'd absolutely love to have you around, you know, especially if this found you, you're already part of the soul tribe. So just come and make yourself at home. Personal reading details also down below. You guys can click the link now and you'll be redirected to the website. Definitely take a look at the virtual tarot cards that we have there and the affirmations. I have so much fun playing with them. I had so much fun creating them with BD. He's amazing. He absolutely cooked. So I'm really excited to share those modalities and tools with you. And yeah, that will be it, guys. Also check out Otter Spirit if you're looking for some high quality AAE grade gemstones. 1 of the proceeds are donated towards Otter Sanctuaries, and you have 2 discount codes for that in the description box as well. So I'm gonna love and leave you right there, and let me know if you made it to this point. Comment down below the fire or the phoenix emoji to put this into the system, right? Fire or phoenix emoji. I want to see it, and let me know how this is transpiring in your reality. How are you reintroducing yourself? Until next time, bye.